I put laxatives in the Thanksgiving turkey and I'd do it again. Look, all I wanted was one peaceful and civil Thanksgiving dinner for the kids. A nice family meal where everyone could just get along for a few hours. That's why I invited my ex-husband, even if I can't stand the cheating jerk. On the day of the dinner, I spent hours running around, cleaning, decorating, cooking, setting everything up for the guests. I was still stuffing the turkey when the doorbell suddenly rang. I wiped off the mess on my apron and walked over to the front door. Yo, my ex-husband greeted. You're early, I said, surprised considering he was always late to our dates before and had been late to the divorce hearing as well. Yeah, well, I brought the family, he said before stepping aside, bringing me face to face with his new girlfriend Kelly and her 3 kids. I forced a smile and quickly pulled him aside. This isn't okay. You can't just suddenly bring people to my house uninvited to a dinner I'd been preparing weeks for, I whispered angrily. He crossed his arms. But if I told you, you would have said no. Come on, it's Thanksgiving. What are you going to do? Turn away children? He asked, clearly expecting this conversation to pop up. Just as I was about to give my permission, Kelly, his girlfriend, walked in and immediately wrinkled her nose. Oh, you went with that color scheme? Interesting choice. Her kids ran straight past me without even saying hello. Within minutes, they'd grabbed half the cheese plate I'd spent an hour arranging. Growing boys, Kelly said with a shrug while they shoved crackers in their mouths. I smiled tightly, then turned to my ex. Watch them. They're your responsibility, okay? He rolled his eyes. I sighed and went back to the kitchen, doing my best to focus on my to-do list. But just as I was about to place the turkey in the oven, I heard screaming. My daughter ran into the kitchen in a panic. Mama, the couch, the carpet, she gasped, dragging me out to see Kelly's kids jumping and running in the living room with their buddies' shoes on, leaving brown streaks across the cream fabric. Hey, stop that, I shouted, but they ignored me and continued running around. They ran between other guests, spilling juice all over the floor and on other people. Then they started throwing dinner rolls at each other across the living room while the adults were talking. Every time I asked them to stop, Kelly would say, they're just being kids, and go right back to her phone. My ex said nothing, but then I heard the sound of something shattering in the kitchen. One of the kids, and run in, stuffed his finger into the food, and accidentally knocked down my grandmother's old porcelain serving dish. I grabbed his shoulders and glared. That's bad. Apologize and clean up, I demanded. The kid just laughed, stuck out his tongue, and kicked me in the shin before running off. I turned to Kelly and my ex, waiting for some kind of backup, maybe an apology. You know, if you can't handle a little chaos, maybe don't host Thanksgiving, Kelly smirked. My ex shrugged. She has a point. You're being kind of uptight about all this. It's just stuff. Just stuff? My grandmother's dish, my couch, my rug, my weeks of planning was just stuff. I had enough. I returned to the kitchen, bent down, and cried while I swept up the broken glass. I felt so overwhelmed, so disappointed at how out of control things had gotten. It wasn't fair. My sadness soon shifted into anger. Then I did something I never thought I would. I reached into a small cabinet and grabbed a bottle of laxatives and immediately started crushing it into fine powder. I pulled the turkey out and began mixing it into the stuffing, sprinkled it on top, made absolutely sure that bird was thoroughly seasoned. Then I quietly pulled aside my parents, my kids, and the few friends who'd come. Do not eat the turkey, I whispered. Trust me. Beep beep. My kitchen alarm went off. The turkey was ready. Finally, showtime. I brought everything out to the dining room table and flashed my sweetest smile. Dinner time. Let's eat. Finally, we're starving, Kelly shouted, making everyone look away uncomfortably. Well, please dig it, I replied. Kelly's family descended into the food like wolves, tearing at the turkey before anyone else even had a chance to lift up their forks. They piled their plates high, going back for seconds and thirds while everyone else stuck to the side dishes. They looked so smug, so satisfied, as if this had been their plan all along, but I just smiled and waited. 5 minutes in, the first kid went pale, grabbing his stomach tight. Mom, my tummy hurts, he grumbled. She rolled her eyes at him. Stop complaining and eat the free food, she bit back, shoving a drumstick into his mouth. But then her stomach tightened and churned painfully. Her oldest son bolted toward the nearest bathroom, but I'd locked all the rooms earlier, right after placing the turkey in the oven. Sorry, sweetie. Plumbing issues, I told him in my kindest tone. Panic hit their faces all at once. They tried the bathrooms again, rattling the handles desperately. Then they looked at each other and ran, straight out the back door into my yard. We heard them howling in pain and watched them squatting and struggling behind bushes like animals. Some guests laughed, others looked away in disgust. My ex-husband just stood there, frozen, his face bright red with horror. When he finally looked at me, I met his eyes and smiled. Next time you invite yourself and your family to my house, maybe teach them some manners first.